What'd you think? Woo! I don't want anyone to leave here saying, gosh, I didn't learn anything this weekend. I learned things. The questions were awesome. So now we know we need a little more time for Q&A next time. It is my pleasure to introduce again, Kendra Sen is going to come up and talk to you about her health and wellness program and some ideas on how to really get your life in balance. Welcome.
I'm back, and this has been such an amazing group, even sitting backstage feeling the amazing energy that you all have. It's contagious and it makes me feel much more comfortable being up here. I first would like to take a second and thank Debbie. She has been such an amazing mentor for me, being a young woman entrepreneur, and it can be scary out there, and so having such a strong example for someone who's been so successful has been such a blessing in my life, and so I want to thank her so much for having me here. So like she talked about, I am here to talk to you about wellness and well-being, but take a little bit of a different spin on it. And instead of just talking about it, I'd like to have us all experience it. So, again, I'm gonna have you all stand up. Don't worry, we're not gonna do anything crazy like jumping jacks. So we're all here in one way or another because we are entrepreneurs and we are go-getters. And what does a go-getter like but a challenge? So I'm going to give you 20 seconds after I say go to shake as many hands as possible that you can do. So ready, go. What went up in the room? What would it be? Energy. The sound, yes. But also the energy. The energy spiked up in the room. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. We all want to have more energy, so what I'm going to share with you is how to have more energy more often, which I believe is something that we all want. Now, you may be thinking, what can a 23-year-old girl possibly share with you about wellness, about how to take better care of yourself and have more energy? And in order to share this with you, I believe it's important for you to hear a little bit about my family. Now, it's a hard to see picture, but this is my family at our annual shaving cream fight out in Wisconsin. And I have been blessed with many mentors in my family. I have been a very lucky girl. And the first one, my mentor, is my mom. Yes. Now, my mom had me as a planned birth at 44, and I have a little brother who's 14, who she had as a planned birth at 52. So if you do the math, she's now 67. And 4 weeks after having a C-section with my little brother, she competed in a 10K run and got first place in her age group. And I just spoke with her yesterday. She was out in Wisconsin, and she had just gotten back from single skiing out on the lake. And no, it's not the genes, it's her lifestyle. But the person that I've learned the most from about how to take care of myself and how to have more energy is my dad, Larry Sen. And he has been a lifelong entrepreneur. That's him with Al Gore. And he started at age 11 selling flowers on commission on street corners. And right after he got out of college, he started what is now the biggest culture shaping firm in the world. And they focus on how to make healthier cultures in companies. And he's shared his teachings and values with 75% of the Fortune 500 companies, and his teachings with over 2 million people. While that is impressive enough, he took up triathlons at age 70. Good picture here. And with his 79th birthday coming up this year, he will be competing in half a dozen triathlons. He still works full-time, and he just completed his 5th book called Up the Mood Elevator, which I'll talk to you a little bit more about in a little bit. So he's extremely impressive, as we can see. And not only him, one big thing that he's taught me, and it's been touched on a few times today, is the importance of finding something you're passionate about and running with it, about finding your purpose. And that's something that my dad has stressed to me over and over again. And it's reflected not only in me, but in my older brothers. This is my older brother, Jason. He's a former professional surfer, and he now owns California's most successful surf camp called Endless Summer. And this is my brother, Kevin, professional kiteboarder. He wears that top hat every time he goes kite surfing. He never takes it off. And he has a surf shop on the North Shore of Oahu in Hawaii. And they are both great examples to me, as well as my parents, of finding what I am passionate about. And that leads me to my story. And my story started here. At 18 years old, I was 40 pounds heavier than I was now, and I was ready to make a change. So what I decided to do was take it upon myself to start learning about how to take better care of myself. So nutrition, exercise, and I immediately fell in love with wellness. And that led me to my studies at USC, where I actually was able to be lectured by Cookie Lee in some of my classes. Wow. And so I started studying in the business school in the entrepreneur program. And I also started studying in the medicine school in nutrition and health promotion. And I thought, how can I take my 2 loves of business and wellness? And that's where the Fit Life came about. And so what we do at the Fit Life is we bring health and wellness into the workplace. And I've been blessed with so many learning opportunities, and it's been such an amazing experience to do something that I'm so passionate about, because it really doesn't feel like work at that point. And what I learned growing up with the family that I have, and what I was able to later personally experience, was that it would be absolutely impossible to be able to be an entrepreneur, have a social life, be involved in the community, all things that I am, without being able to properly manage my energy. And that's what our main topic will be today, is how to manage your energy. And I'd like to focus on 2 types of energy, emotional energy and then physical energy. And the first one is emotional energy. And what emotional energy essentially is it's reflected in our moods. So depending on what kind of energy we have, it's much more likely to affect our moods. So I would like you to think about a time where you were low on sleep, run down with work. What kind of mood were you in? Probably crabby, right? I know for me, I am much less patient with others. I'm not as good at problem solving, and I don't feel as secure with myself. And I actually have a personal story to share really quick. I actually just got back from my first trip to Europe, which was absolutely amazing. And Paris is one of the places I visited. And by the time I had gotten to Paris, I was low on sleep, I was jet lagged, I was a little overwhelmed by the culture shock, and I found I was much less patient with people on the public transportation. I was much less willing to make the effort to get to know people when there is that language barrier. And I wasn't present to enjoy Paris with what a tragedy. It's such a beautiful city, and I wasn't there, I wasn't fully there. And then it was amazing, after one good night of sleep, everything changed. And I was able to take in all of the beautiful sights in the city, including the Eiffel Tower. And nothing changed about Paris. Paris didn't change, my energy levels changed. So now I want you to think about what kind of moods you're in when you're happy, or when you got a good night's sleep. When you got a good night's sleep, what kind of feelings are you having there? You're probably much more optimistic, you're better with your customers, you're much more productive, you're better to solve problems. And so this range of moods that I'm talking about here is demonstrated in a card that you guys all should have received, and it's called the Mood Elevator. And the Mood Elevator is something that we all ride every day. And it goes from grateful at the top to depressed at the bottom. So take a second and just identify where you're at on the mood elevator.
Right now?
I know for me, right now, I am feeling extremely grateful to be up here. And so this is a great tool to be used. And the fact, like I said, we all ride this every day. So while it would be nice if we could all stay in the blue all the time, it's not realistic. And it's greatly influenced by our energy and by our emotions. So what this tool is mainly used for is an awareness tool. So imagine yourself being in the red. And has anyone ever done something, I know I have, where you probably weren't in the best mood and you may have said something to a loved one or sent an email that you wish you could take back immediately? And that's because when we're in the red, our thinking is completely unreliable and we're much more likely to do harm. My parents have been together 40 years and they have something where if they're not feeling up to it, if they're not in a good mood, they'll say, you know what, I can't have this conversation right now because my thinking is unreliable and I have a feeling I might say something I regret. They're not perfect at it, but it's a great system to be able to do. And so this is a great awareness tool. So it's not to say you always need to be at the top, but when you're especially when you're in the red, it's great to be aware of it, and it's great not to say something that you're gonna regret. So it's a really good awareness tool. And now the question is, how do we stay at the top more often? That's something that we would all like to know. So there are two main ways to do that. And the first one is written right on the mood elevator, and that is gratitude. So, one of the best ways to get out of the red, there are two ways that you can utilize gratitude. The first one is just take a few moments and reflect on what you're grateful for in your own life. It can be big things like your family or your health, or it can just be little things like I'm grateful that I made that green light when I was in a rush on my way to work. And so it doesn't have to be big things, it can be little, but just taking a couple minutes to do that on a daily basis, it's amazing what it can do for your mood. I personally like to start my day off by making a list of 10 things that I'm grateful for. Some days it's harder than others, but I find that it really puts me on a positive path for the rest of the day. And then the second way to utilize gratitude is to express appreciation for someone else. And that can be someone in your family, that can be someone at work, you thought they did a good job, you say, hey, great job. It's just little things. Or it can be a complete stranger on the street. Hi, I like your outfit. And doing that for someone else, it's amazing what it does for you. Just taking the time out to express appreciation for someone else will get you right up on the mood elevator, I guarantee it. Now, the second way that we can stay up the mood elevator is taking better care of ourselves. And that leads